Okay, so we want to talk about what is history. And many people think that history is the story of what happened. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, and just tell me the facts. Just tell me the facts about history. But in fact, there's a lot more to history than that. History is a discipline. History is a discipline like medicine, like law, and other fields like that have rules and ways of doing things. So just like doctors all do things the same way, historians must also do things the same way. So that's the first point about history. It's a discipline. It has rules and conventions, another word for rules that must be followed. The most important rule that historians must follow is they must research and document their work. So historians document their work. Historians are members of a discipline. Historians work with each other. They work with other historians. So right away we have three aspects to history that describe it as a discipline. It's a professional discipline or field where researchers go into the field, they look at artifacts, they look at primary sources and secondary sources, and then they write. The one thing historians all have in common is they write. And so in any history course you are going to have to write. And the best way to write is to follow the rules that historians themselves follow. So when you're taking a history course, essentially you are a historian. You're playing a historian, you have to follow their rules. So you can offer your opinion, that's something historians do too. Historians offer their opinion though in subtle ways. They don't just come out and shout it from the rooftops and say, I think this, I think that. Sometimes they can emphasize their opinion just through emphasis, by talking about somebody and ignoring somebody else, by emphasizing one series of events and minimizing another series of events, saying that's not important. But remember what we said, the most important rule that historians have is they have to document what they're saying. So how do historians document their research? How do historians document their writing? You pick up any history book, any book by a historian, turn to the back, and there are citations, there are footnotes. That's what a good historian has. If you have a book that's supposedly about what happened in history, it doesn't have footnotes, take it from me, it's not a history book. So that's the discipline of history in a nutshell. It's a field with individuals who collaborate and all follow the same rules. They look at primary sources from the original events. They look at secondary sources, what other historians and other people have written about the events. They write up and emphasize what they think is important. They back it up with evidence, with quotes, with citations, with footnotes. Those are the ingredients that all historians have. They have a sense of time and place. Historians should know where in the world and when in the world things happen. So when you're reading a history book, when you're reading a history paper, you should know when and where things happen. That's why historians should also always know their geography. So those are the basic tenets. We've spelled out about 5, 6 or so tenets of history. You should know those before you even embark on writing any history paper. If you write and you want to rewrite, look at your history paper. How many of those aspects do you have? Have you shown time and place? Have you sprinkled in primary sources and secondary sources? Have you referred to text? Have you used quotes? Overall, have you offered an opinion? Have you emphasized something? Have you backed it up with research? And have you offered a conclusion, a generalization, and your opinion? That's history.